Hello students, welcome to this session. I've just solved this NEET test 110 and I am here with the analysis of the physics part. I've regarded 4 as tough. This one I've regarded tough because of the formula that is used very rarely. Similarly for others also 21 are medium and 20 are easy. So overall it's a nicely balanced paper, and if I do by the normal logic again, 120 should be a decent score here, and those who are doing very good should get 160 score in this test. I hope you must have watched yesterday's live session. If you have not attended that, do watch that. That might be beneficial for your last preparation. So let's see the first question. The radius of hydrogen atom in its ground state is 5.3 to 10 to the power minus 11. After collision with electron, it is found to have a radius of this much. So if you look at this data, you can directly make it out that this final radius is 4 times the initial one. This final radius is 4 times the initial one, and we know because r is proportional to n square, because it has become 4 times, that means it has come to the second state, therefore the radius has become the 4 times. Next one. The electron in a hydrogen atom is in an orbit from which there can be a maximum of 6 transitions. So from any orbit, the maximum number of transitions that you say is n minus 1 by 2, that is given as 6. That means n comes out as, clearly you can say n is coming out as 4. So it is the 4th quantum state that it is in. Another electron in a different hydrogen atom is in an orbit. From there can be a maximum of 3. That means for that n minus 1 by 2 is equal to 3. So there that n comes out as 3. The ratio of the velocity of electron in these orbit. Now velocity you say is z by n into c by 137, that you remember. So v is inverse to n. So let's v1 by v2 would be equal to n2 by n1, that is 3 by 4. Go for option D. Next one. 3 identical spheres, each of mass m, are placed at the corners of equilateral triangle of side 2 meters. Taking one of the corner as the origin as shown in the figure, the position of the CM will be. So first of all, from symmetry you can make it out, CM will be on this line, that means XCM is 1. That is the first thing you can do. XCM is 1. So this is rejected, this is rejected, this is rejected, you have got the answer. So we were lucky one, but let me solve it. YCM, if I have to find out, these two are at 0, so 0 plus 0, and this would be m into this distance you say 2. This is 60 degree to 2 sine 60, that is root 3 by 2 divided by 3m. So that comes out as 1 by root 3. So it would be I cap plus 1 by root 3 j cap, and it is option D. You can directly go for next one. Solid cube of the edge A is molten and molded in 8 identical small solid cubes. Okay. So if it is drawn into 8, the volume become 1/8. So the edge length, if it was A, it becomes A by 2, that you know. And are placed on one another on a straight line with edge of the bottom cube on the same horizontal plane on which big cube was placed, then the vertical shift in the CM will be. They are placed on one other. Okay. So what we have, I think this question was a repeated one. Initially you had this solid cube. So initial CM was at a height A by 2. You can make it out, this height was A by 2. Now what it would be, you have 8. So 1, 2 till you have this 8. So if you do, first one is would be at A half, that means A by 4. Second one would be at 3 by 4, and similarly you can make it out. So directly from the symmetry you can make out, it would be at the, let's say this one, where there will be a let's say at the end of the 4th one. At the end of the 4th one means that would be at 2a. If you can solve also, you will get like this. You can directly take the midpoint as 2a height. So the shift delta y cm, it would be, you have to find the shift, not it would be 2a, 2a would be the final. So it would be 2a minus a by 2. So the shift is going to be 3a by 2. You can directly go for, this is 3a by 2 shift. Next. So 3a by 2, which is option A. Yeah. Disk initially at rest is rotated about its axis with uniform acceleration. In first 2 seconds it rotates by theta, in the next 2 seconds you know it would be 3 theta. You have done it many times. Let me show you again. Because the angular speed is increasing uniformly from rest, it will go like this. So let's say in the first 2 seconds, if this is the area of the triangle, in the next 2 seconds we can directly say this would be the area of the trapezium. Let's say this would be omega alpha into 2. This would be alpha into 4, because alpha is constant. So this area you can make it out as half into 2 alpha, and that is equal to theta. And next this area would be half into sum. If I do 2 alpha plus 4 alpha and the gap is 2, that would be theta dash. So if I do that, theta dash by theta, half into 2 will go out, it would be 2 alpha plus 4 alpha, 6 alpha by 2 alpha, that is 3. So theta dash is 3 alpha, or you can do by right equation of motion. If the magnetic dipole moment of an atom of a diamagnetic material, para and a ferro, are this respectively, then we know for a diamagnetic material it is 0, not for para and the ferra. So we'll go for option A, that is the answer. Next one. 13 resistance, each of resistance capital R are connected in the circuit as shown in the figure. The effective resistance between A and B will be. So let's start by the basics. R and R, 2R, R and R, 2R, R and R in series, that is 2R, R and R in series, that is 2R. And from the symmetry you can say whenever we go, let's say go to C or go to D, the path is exactly the same, so the drop from A to C will be same as path from drop from A to D, or you will get the balanced Wheatstone if you further solve. So you can directly take out this, there will be no current flowing in it, you can take out this resistor. Now this 2R and R, this 2R and R, this 2R and R, this 2R and R are in parallel, so you get 4 equal branches of equal arms of the Wheatstone, each with 2R and R in parallel, that is 2R by 3. So all are equal, so resistance will also be equal to 2R by 3, all 4 arms are equal. Next one. In the diagram in the figure, the potential of the points B, C, D respectively are where it is, it is 0. So this is 12 volts and this would be 6 volts. So 12 to 6, total drop is going to be 6 volt and the resistance is 6, so the current would be 1 ampere going like this. So 1 ampere in 1 ohm, so drop would be 1 volt, so it would become 11. 1 ampere in 2 ohms, drop would be 2, so it would be 9 volts. So that is the answer that we will be getting. So the answer is B11, C9, D6. Go for option B. Not a tough one for you. Next. Inductor coil and a capacitor and resistor of 5 ohm are connected in series to an AC source of RMS 30. When the frequency is varied, a maximum RMS current of 5 ampere is observed. If this inductor is connected in parallel with a resistance 5 ohm to a battery of EMF 25 volt and internal resistance 2 ohm, the current drawn from the battery is going to be. So when the frequency is varied, a maximum RMS of 5 is obtained. A maximum RMS of 5 is obtained, that means we can here biggest hint is maximum of 5 is obtained, otherwise 30 by 5 would be 6. That means this inductor coil is a combo of R and L. So the coil also has the resistance, and we can say 30 by 5 is 6. That means the resistance of the coil is 1 ohm. So now when this coil is connected in parallel with a resistance 5 ohm with a battery 25, internal resistance 2, this is 5 and this is a coil like this, inductor plus resistor, it's like this, 5 and 1, this is 2, this is 25. Now the current drawn in the steady state, we will have this in parallel, the inductor won't do anything, it will behave as a wire. So 5 and 1 in parallel, that is 5 by 6. So R equivalent will become 5 by 6 plus 2 of the overall. I am taking a, let's say 5 by 6, we typically write it like this. So the current would be E upon internal resistance plus R equivalent. So internal resistance is 2, E is 25, sorry, not 5 by 6. 25 upon 2 plus 5 by 6, so it comes out as 17. 25 into 6 by 17 ampere that we are getting, so it is 150 by 17 ampere. Go for option A. Next one. Metallic square loop ABCD moving in its own plane with velocity v in a uniform magnetic field normal to its plane, EMF is induced. So EMF is induced, we know it will induced in BC, it will induced in AD, not in here, because here V and this L are parallel to each other, so not into these two, but in AD and BC the EMF will be induced. That is the other case, that both will be in the same, like V cross B, if you do, it is coming towards you. So if you do this V cross B, both batteries will be like that, and if you add them up, it will come out to be 0, but the EMF induced in both. Two bodies A and B of definite shape are placed over near one another. Electrostatic attraction is found between the bodies, then both must be positively charged, both must be negatively charged, both must be oppositely charged, body A may be neutral. Just remember, the true test of electrification is repulsion. If one of the body is charged and other is uncharged, then also they will show attraction because of that induction effect. So must options have to be carefully analyzed. So body A may be neutral, it could be a possibility, so I'll go for option D. Always remember, the real test of electrification is repulsion, not the attraction. Two insulated charged spheres R1, R2 charges Q1, Q2 are connected to each other, then there is no change in the energy of the system, an increase in the energy of the system, always a decrease in the energy of system, a decrease in the energy unless Q1 R1 is Q2 R2. So you know the charges will redistribute to make the potential same, and in that process definitely if the charges move by itself, they will definitely go for a lower potential energy state, so energy decreases. Only when they were already at the same potential, that even if V1 V is equal to V2, or you write kQ1 by R1 equal to kQ2 by R2, then only there will be no redistribution and no energy loss. So we'll go for option D. So if Q1 R2 is equal to Q2 R1, there will be no transfer of charge and no loss in energy, otherwise there will be a decrease in energy. Two planets have the same average density. If the radius are in this ratio, the g are the acceleration due to gravity at surface, then what would be the ratio? We know g at the surface is equal to 4 pi 3 g pi rho r, that is what you know. So density is same, so directly gs is proportional to r, so go for option 3:1. That's an easy one for you, so because density was given as same. Next, gravitational force acts on a particle due to a fixed uniform solid sphere. Neglect other forces, then particle always moves normal to the radial direction, always moves in the radial direction, always moves in a circular orbit, experiences a force along the radial. So again, the direction of motion will also be decided by the initial state of that particle. So we cannot always, whatever always is written, think of a case where you can negate it. So definitely we will go for option D. It will experience a force along the radial because the field is radial. So force would be radial, motion will be normal to field or not. That will depend only on the initial state of that. There are two thin spheres A and B of the same material and same thickness. They behave like black bodies. Radius of A is double that of B while both have the same temperature. They are kept in a temperature which is at a lower temperature. The ratio of the rate of cooling is. So again, directly what we say, rate of cooling that we remember is, that is sigma EA upon ms, that you write upon T to the power 4 minus T naught to the power 4. So because they have the same material, E and S will be same and temperatures is also same, so this rate of cooling, this would be proportional to area upon mass. Now area is proportional to r square and it is given they have the same thickness. That means it's a hollow sphere, so the mass would be density into 4 pi r square delta T, so it would be r square T, T is same, so it would be r square, that is 1. So rate of cooling would be 1:1. Go for option B here. So just you have to remember, because the thickness is given, it means it is a hollow sphere, not a solid one. If a quantity of heat 1163.4 joule is supplied to a mole of nitrogen gas at room temperature at constant pressure, then the rise in temperature will be. So at constant pressure we can write Qp is equal to Ncp delta T. Mole is 1, so delta T you can say Qp is 1163.4 joules, N is 1, Cp would be 7r by 2. 7 by 2 into 8.31 you can say, into 2 divided by 7 into 8.31, so it comes out. So this is 2 4s are 8, 2 3s are 6, 2 6s are 12, 3 2 upon 7 1s are 7, 7 3s are 21, 7 8s are 56, 58.17. So you can directly say, if the table of 50, it won't be 50, definitely would be not coming, it would be closer to 40 Kelvin. You can make it out, because 58 4s, if you will do, that would be 116232. So go for 40 Kelvin, that is the answer here. Next one. 1 mole of an ideal mono gas at temperature T0 expands slowly according to the law of pressure is proportional to V. If the final temperature is 40, then the heat supplied is, okay. So pressure is K times V, you can directly make it out, PV to the power minus 1 is constant, so it's a polytropic one. So C would be Cv plus R upon 1 minus X. So what is Cv? Mono it is, so 3R by 2 plus R upon X is minus 1, so R by 2, that is 2R. So that the heat supplied is Nc delta T. So 1 into 2R delta T would be 3T0, so go for 6R T0. So you just can brush up this concept from the video that I have made on this polytropic one. It is an easy one if you know that theory. Two particles X and Y have equal charges, are accelerated through same potential. The entire region of field describes the path r1, r2 radius, the ratio of their masses is. So r is mv by qb, and mv you can write it as root 2 mk, that you write as root 2 mqv by qb. So say potential is same, b is same, and they have the same charge also, so radius is proportional to root m. So r1 by r2 is going to be root of m1 by m2, so the ratio of this m1 mx by m by m1 by m2 would be r1 square by r2 square. Go for the option D here. Next one. Proton and a deuteron with same initial kinetic energy enters a field in a direction normal to direction of field, the ratio of the radiuses. This is on the same concept the question is being asked. That is generally not being done in the exams, real exams. So proton and deuteron, so both have the same mass, same charge, B is same, K is same, so R is again proportional to root m. So again what you will do, because they have the same mass, sorry, the radius is proportional to root m, so R proton to R deuteron, that would be root of 1:2. Go for option B here. Next one. Jogger running at 9 kmph alongside a railway track 240 meters is 2 feet 40 meters ahead of an engine of 120 meter locked in train running at 45 kmph. In how much time will the train pass the jogger? So for the train to pass the jogger, relatively it should cover 240 plus 120, that means the delta x relative it has to cover is 360 meter, and the relative velocity of the train is 45 minus 9, 36 kmph, which is 10 meter per second. So directly 36 seconds you can go for the time it will take to cross the jogger. Rain driven by the wind falls on a railway compartment with a velocity of 20 meter per second at an angle 30 degree to the vertical. The train moves along the direction of wind flow at a speed of 108 kmph. The apparent velocity of rain for a person sitting in the train is going to be, okay, so what we are given here, it is falling at an angle 30 degree to the vertical, and the train is going along the direction of the wind flow. The apparent velocity of rain for a person sitting in the train. So here, this is the velocity of the rain at an angle 30 degree here, and this theta is 30 degree. So let's say, let me take an axis coordinate system like this is x-axis, this is y-axis. So if I have to write this vectorially, velocity of the rain I can write as 20 cos 30 I cap, 20 sin 30 j cap, because 30 is the y. So 20 cos 30 I cap will give me 10 root 3 j cap, and this will give me 10 I cap. And because the train is going in the direction of the wind, so it would be going forward, it would be 108 is 30 meter per second, so velocity of train is 30 I cap. And what we need to find out train velocity with respect to person sitting in train, that is with respect to train, that would be Vr minus Vt. So if I do this Vr minus Vt, what I'll get, minus 20 I cap plus 10 root 3 j cap. So you can make it out, if I draw, this would be minus Vt like this, so it would be somewhere here like this. This is V of rain with respect to train. So we have to calculate the speed of train with respect to train, that is 20 square is 400, 10 root 3 is 300, so it's come out as 10 root 7. Go for option B here. So just use the vector components, that would be better for you. Next one. There's a man of 50 kg standing at one end of a boat of length 25 and mass 200 kg. If he starts running and reaches the other end at a speed of 2 meter per second with respect to boat, the speed of the boat would be, so let's say the boat velocity be Vb in the opposite direction, then the man velocity with respect to the boat is given. So velocity of men with respect to boat is given as 2 meter per second. So first of all, what we can say, because they are opposite, the velocity of men with respect to the water or with respect to still water would be equal to definitely 2 minus Vb in forward direction. So these are speeds, just remember. So just because the Cm will be at rest, what I can say, mass of man into velocity of man would be equal to mass of boat into velocity of boat in ground frame. Both are opposite, so the net momentum is 0. So that 50 into 2 minus Vb would be equal to 200 into Vb. So what do you get? This is 100 upon that Vb would be 100 upon this 50 plus 200, that is 250. Vb comes out as 2 by 5. So this is option A. You can directly go for it using the basic idea of that Cm and that momentum analogies. The backside of a truck is open and a box of 40 kg is placed 5 meter from the rear and friction coefficient is 0.15. Truck starts with acceleration 2. Calculate the distance covered by the truck when the box falls off. So because the acceleration is more than what the friction can provide, you can say friction can suffice for 1.5. So the relative acceleration of the block with respect to the truck would be opposite to the direction of motion of truck, that would be 0.5 meter per second square backwards. So just magnitude I can write. So the time it will take to fall, it has to cover 5 meters, so the distance would be half into 0.5 into t square would be equal to 5. So the time comes out as 10 upon 0.5 under root, that is root of 20, you can make it out. Now in this time the displacement of the truck would be half, acceleration of truck is 2 into t square you get as 20, so this comes out as 20 meters. So the truck will go 20 meters, the block will move 15 meters, so with respect to truck it goes back by 5 meters. Next one. Alpha particle 5 mega electronic watt scattered through 180 degree by a fixed uranium nucleus. The distance of the closest approach would be, directly you can say the initial kinetic energy K initial would be converted into final potential energy at that distance of closest approach, which is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. 2e it is charged, uranium charge is 92 E upon R minimum. So R minimum directly 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, write it as 9 into 10 to the power 9. Write it as 2e and write it as 92 into 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. I am leaving 1 e because I'll convert that MeV. MeV would be 10 to the power 6 into EV. E and E goes. So what we are left with, 9 into 18 into 1.6 into 92 by 5, and this power game will come out as 9 and 6 3, 10 raised to power minus 16. So what we can do this, you can write it as 3.6. So 3.6 into 1.6 into 9.2, or write it as 9.2, and this will be in femtometers. You can go for 10 to the power minus 15. Let me check, write it like this. Let me check what is the power. I think one more would be reduced, so it would be 10 to the power minus 14. So 9 into 1.6, it would be 144, 14.4, and 14 threes are what we have 42, so it would be 5.3. 53 will get, so 5.3 into 10 to the power minus 14. I'll go for this option C. Next one. The fraction of atoms in a radioactive element that decays in 6 days is 7 by 8. So 7 by 8 decays in 6 days, that means 1 by 8 remains after 6 days. So 1 by 8 is basically 3 t half directly, so t half is 2 days. So the fraction that decays in 10 days. So after 10 days the remaining would be 1 upon 2 to the power 5, because 5 half-lives, that is 1 upon 32 would be remaining, so decayed would be 31 by 32 you can go for. Kinetic energy of a particle in SHM is 16 joule when it is at the mean position. If the amplitude is 25, the mass of oscillation is this time period is. So you can write K at mean position is half m omega square a square. So 16 is half into 5.12 omega square a square 1 by 4, the 1 by 16 you can write. So omega square is 16 into 16, and this would be 2.56, half into 1 by 2, 2.56. So this is coming out as 100, because that would be 256. So omega is 10, so time period is 2 pi by 10, that is pi by 5. Go for option C. So easy calculation, data is very simplified for you. Next one. Simple pendulum amplitude 10 centimeter. When the pendulum at a displacement from the mean, the ratio of the kinetic and potential is, so kinetic would be at any position is half m omega square a square minus x square. U you know is half m omega square x square. So take the ratio 10 square minus 4 square upon 4 square, that is 100 minus 16, 84, 84 by 16, that is 5.25. Go for option A. I think this is also a repeated one from previous NTA tests. Photon of light enters a block of glass after traveling through a vacuum. The energy of the photon on traveling in the entering the glass block, speed will reduce, but the frequency remains same. The energy will remain the same. So go for option, not 8, let me just stays the same as in 2, because the frequency doesn't change. Okay. Wavelength will change. Remember, speed and wavelength change, frequency doesn't change, and energy depend on this frequency thing. A parallel beam of light is incident normally on a plane surface, absorbing 40% of the light, reflecting the rest. If the beam carries 60 watt of power, the force exerted is. So simply the force exerted that you write as the power is 60. So the force that you will write is basically that would be equal to, first of all you are given the energy incident. So I can say the momentum incident would be E by C per unit time, that is 60 by C. Now we directly say the force would be the change in momentum that we write for the one which is getting absorbed, that is 40%, so it would be 0.4 p of this, and for the 60% reflected, so it would be double, because in reflection the change in momentum would be double. So it would be 1.6 times P. So 1.6 into 60 upon 3 into 10 to the power 8. So this is 20 into 1.6, that is 32 into 10 to the power minus 8 I can go for. So 3.2 into 10 to the power minus 7 Newton you can write. There's a hole of area A at the bottom of a cylindrical vessel. Water is filled to a height h and water flows out in t. If it is filled to h, then it will flow out in time this. So just remember this time taken is always, you can say, t is proportional to root h, the height filled. So if height has become 4 times, the time will become 2 times. Just remember this. This would be very, very helpful for you. So this is like this. So the whole formula that comes out, you can remember that, but this is the result that you should remember like this. Cylindrical tube of length 100 cm contains a mercury pallet of length 5 cm as shown in the figure. Length of the tube above mercury pallet if the tube is inverted is nearly. So you have the length of the mercury pallet is 5 and it contains the length of the tube above mercury pallet is, you are given as so let's say it has an air trapped at P1 pressure. Now when you invert it, let's say this length changes, instead of 50 let it changes to x. So let's say whether it is compressed or whatever it is you can do, definitely it would be, what we can say, it is going to be, let's say I think it is going to be expanded or compressed, whatever it is going to be. So the pressure instead of P1 will become P2, and this is, you again have this 5 cm, and you again know this is going to be equal to this first thing, we generally take this to be an isothermal process. So it was P1 into area into 50 would be equal to P2 into area into x for this, for the first thing. So A and goes. So P1 into 50 is equal to P2 into x. This is the first thing, and the next the thing that you will have, that P1 pressure was equal to the atmospheric pressure plus this mercury length 5 centimeter mercury pressure, that is rho gh. You can make it out. So if I do in terms of the height of the mercury, it was 80 centimeter corresponding, because 75 is the atmospheric pressure and 5 is this. So 80 into 50 would be equal to P2 into x. So x comes out as what we are coming out as this, and now what would be P2, sorry. Similarly P2 now would be P2 plus 5 is equal to P80m, so P2 would be 70, that is, so that would be 80 into 50 upon 70, you can make it out. So it is 80 into 5 by 7, 80 into 5 by 7 means it is going to expand. So 80 into 5 by 7 would be 400 by 7, this is 5 and 50, so it would be 57 point something centimeters. So above the mercury, that is x, you need to calculate, that is 57 centimeters approximately will be the answer here. So it's a very common question being asked in previous examinations in JEE Main and all. I doubt it was asked in NEET, but you should remember this. 2 points lie on the either side of the axis of as shown. It is desired to produce an image of P at Q during a spherical mirror using XY as the optical axis. The mirror must be. So make it out. If this is the axis, this height is coming out more, so this would be an enlarged image, and it is coming out as a real image because it would be inverted. So we have to place a concave mirror here somewhere. We have to place it here. This concave mirror should be placed here so that it can be possible. So it is a converging mirror and it is positioned to the left of P. Go for the option A, that would be the answer here. Compound microscope has a magnifying power 33 with its eyepiece of length 10 centimeter. Assume that final image is at a least distance of distinct vision, then the magnification produced by the objective is okay. So there is nothing data is given, just you have given the least distance of distinct vision is given, the magnification produced by the objective would be. So what we can directly say, this magnification is ME into MO, that is what you can write as eyepiece into objective. So for the case of the least distinct distance, this near point, this ME you know is equal to 1 plus D by F. That would be M naught, that is equal to 35. So this MO, and you know that is negative, you know, because that is positive and this overall will be negative. So MO negative would be the better answer, you know. So just calculating the magnitude first of all. So 32 upon 1 plus D by F, 1 plus D by F is, you can say 25 by 10. So 35 upon 3.5, so that is 10, and I'll go for minus 10, that would be more appropriate here. Next one. If the earth shrinks such that its mass doesn't change but radius decreases to 1/4 of its original value, then one complete day will take. So the radius has become r by 4. So what will happen, we'll say the conservation of angular momentum, say I omega will remain constant. I will become, because radius is 1/4, so I will become 1 by 16, so omega will become 16 times. So T will become 1 by 16. 1 by 16 means still it is taking 24 hours, so it would be 24 by 16. It will now take 90 minutes or 1.5 hours. Particle mass m moves in the xy plane with a velocity along a straight line. You know angular momentum is going to remain conserved. About O is LA when it is at A, LB when it is B. You know it will remain same over the line because the R perpendicular will always remain the same. So it would be LA equal to LB. Go for option B. That's a very common concept asked many times. Two identical capacitances C each are charged to the same potential and are connected to circuits at T equal to 0 as shown. The charge on the capacitor at T equal to RC will be. So look at this diagram. What is happening here? This diode is forward bias, this is reverse bias, so its charge won't decrease, it would be CV. So the second one it would be CV, and the first one it will decrease, it will be CV by E. That's an easy one for you. So diode mixed with this RC circuit. Nice question. Change of 8 in emitter brings a change of 7.9 in the collector. The value of alpha and beta, this is repeated third or fourth time. I remember alpha is IC by IE, so this is 7.9 by 8.0. So it would be, you can make it out, it would be like what I say, it would be, if I have to do point, this would be 972, and now what we are left with 70 would be 0.9864, and then 60, that 987, so it would be 0.99 I can go for. Now what about the beta? So beta, the change is, you say, is IC by IB, so IC change is 7.9, IB changes would be difference of those 2.1, that is 79. So go for D, that's an easy one for you. Next one. Bubble is at the bottom of the lake of the depth H. As that bubble comes to the surface, its radius increases 3 times because the pressure is reducing, volume increases. If atmospheric pressure is L meter of the water, then H is. So we will take it as an isothermal. So initially at the bottom the pressure would be P ATM plus rho GH into 4 by 3 pi r cube. Now what it becomes P ATM into 4 by 3 pi 3 r whole cube. So it becomes 27 times P ATM is P ATM plus rho GH. So rho GH comes out as 26 times P ATM, that is 26 times that length. Go for option. Now the next. Choose the wrong statement for 0 error and 0 correction. If the 0 of the vernier doesn't coincide with 0 of main scale, then the instrument is said to be having a 0 error. That is the right one. 0 correction has a magnitude equal to 0 error but sign is opposite to error. Yes. 0 error is positive when the 0 of the vernier scale lies to the left of the 0 of the main scale. This is wrong. It should lie to the right. Okay. So when it is to the left, it is the negative error, and when it is to the right, it is the positive error. So it's a easy one if you remember this theory. Consider an interference pattern between two coherent sources. If I1 I2 be intensity at points where the phase difference is like this, then the intensity at maxima will be. So I1 you can say would be equal to Imax. Imax, and you can say that is cos square, what we can say, pi by 3 means cos square pi by 6, cos square 5 by 6, that is what we write. Or the second one I2 would be Imax. Okay, one more thing, because there are two are given, that I should not take like this because I am assuming both are of same intensity. So let I1 would be I of the source 1 plus I of the source 2 plus 2 root I of source 1 I of source 2 into cos of pi by 3 means 1 by 2, and I2 is I of source 2 1 plus I of source 2 plus 2 root I of source 1 I of source 2 into cos of what we have 2 pi by 3 is minus half. So it would be let me, why it is not working, let me check. So cos of 2 pi by 3, that is minus half. So now if I add them, I1 plus I2, I'll get as twice of I will get twice of IS1 plus IS2. That is the first thing that I'll get. And if I subtract them, what we will get, if I'll subtract them, I'll get I1 minus I2 would be equal to what I can say, it is twice of root IS1 IS2. And what we have, we know the intensity at the maxima would be IS1 plus IS2 plus 2 root IS1 IS2. So IS1 plus I2 is 2. From the first is I1 plus I2, and this 2 would be I1 minus I2. So if I do this, what I'll get 3I1 minus I2 by 2. Go for option, which one? This is option D that we are getting. So it's a nice question, very basic question, but asked in a very nice way. If a torch is used in the place of monolight by DSC, fringe will appear for a moment, it will disappear. Fringe won't appear for you. There won't be an observable interference because sources won't be coherent now. Two strings A and B of length LA and LB are used separately in a sonometer. The ratio of their density is 0.81. The diameter of B is 1/2 that of A. The string have the same tension fundamental then. So fundamental frequency is V by 2L. V is root T by rho A upon 2L mu. I have written as rho A. Now what we have, frequency is same, tension is same, ratio of densities is given, and what we are given, diameter ratio is given, so length also you need to find out. So what we can make it out, I can directly say 1 upon root of rho 1 rho A area of A into L of A would be equal to 1 upon root of rho B AB L of B. So what we need to find, L of B would be L of A into root of rho A by rho B, LB would be rho A by rho B, that is right, into area of A to area of B. So L of A is 80, density ratio is 0.81, and the area we have, diameter of B is half, that means area is 1/4, so it would be 4 times, so it is 4 into 0.81, so I can take it out, 80 into 0.9 into 2. So it is 80 into 1.8 I am getting, so 18 8s are what we have, 144. Go for option C like this. So this would be 144, and that would be the answer I'll be ticking. So just remember, this is not that tough, but you can make it out. Next, string of density 7.5 gram per centimeter cube, area of cross section 0.2 mm square, is stretched under a tension of 20. When it is plugged at the midpoint, the speed of the transverse wave will be, so you know, we still wrote the formula there, T upon what we write it as rho A. This is T, not I, sorry. Yeah, so it is T. Now the tension is 20, the density is, I can write in SI units, would be it would be 7500 kg per meter cube. 0.2 mm square, that is 2 into 10 to the power minus 7. So 1 0 goes, this is 10 to the power minus 6, goes up, 10 to the power 3 will be taken out, this is 2 cancel up, so this is 75, 1 by 75 we are getting, if I have done it rightly I feel. So this approximately comes out as 1000 upon root of 75 would be 8, so it would be 1000 upon 8 point something. We know 1000 upon 8 is 125, so it would be slightly lesser than 125. Go for 116, that is what we can take here. Last two, small bead mass M slides on a smooth wire that is bent in a circle of radius r. It is released at the top with a negligibly small velocity. Find the height when the bead will reverse direction. Okay, that is bent and released at the top of the circular part of the wire. Okay, here it is released from here. So find the height h when the bead will reverse direction, so where the speed will become 0, that you can say. So it released from rest from here, so velocity is 0. So what I can make it out, the velocity at this point at the bottom would be equal to, bottom would be root 2 gh, h would be 2r here, root 2 gr. So now the height gain would be directly, you can say h would be equal to v square by 2g, that is 4gr by 2g, that is again 2r. You can directly make it out, you need not to solve it, you know, from the height it is released, the height it will go there, so you can directly go for 2r, the speed will become 0 here. The potential energy of a force field is given by this, again this is the repeated one. The force acting, I told you, F would be, Fx would be minus del u by del x, and if you differentiate it, cos is sine, minus minus will become plus, so it becomes sine of x plus y. Similarly Fy is minus del u by del y, that also becomes sine of x plus y, so that the requisite point, the force would be 0 comma pi by 4 would be sin pi by 4, that is 1 by root 2 I cap plus 1 by root 2 j cap. Go for the option B that we did before also. So that was the today's paper. Thanks for watching. Keep preparing for your examination.